Good evening, everybody. It's your friendly neighborhood narrator, Travis. Welcome to Tpull's Corner. How many cards are there? 210 total? Alright, let's see how they do on generating land. Maybe they can do better than me. Look at that. Authority of the Consul's out on the first try. That's going to help us. This is a deck where you actually would really like for Authority of the Consuls to be in play. Now all I need is one more untapped land and we're good to go. We've already got our creature in the graveyard on turn 2. Look at how fast they are. 210 cards. Are they all just like 1 mana cards? They've got 200 cards, so it'll cost 1 energy. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Do Overlord of the Belmark. And we'll get Valgavoth's Faithful back. And it's okay to bring him down. They might have a kill spell. Notice that Overlord of the Belmark counts as an enchantment, not a creature, but it still came in tapped. Because it's not a creature, they didn't get life for it. And yet somehow, even though it's not a creature right now, even though it's just an enchantment, it still came in tapped. Is that a bug? That seems like it should be considered a bug. Enchantments aren't supposed to come in tapped. But the underlying code is still looking at something around here. It's not giving it credit for life, so it didn't give it a point. Look at this. Scarecrow Guide. That actually costs 2. Interesting. What are my choices here? I don't want to give them more life. I also don't want to let them draw and get treasure. Let's get rid of that. Or do you have a 1 mana save your creature spell? Not that they're willing to admit to it. Notice that Arena has made me miss a land drop. Granted, there was one in the 4 cards that we milled. There was 1 land out of the next 4 draws. So we've already spoiled Arena's plan for us a little bit. Okay, now we just need a resurrection spell. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this at him. See if that gets through. We're going to throw 1 more creature in the graveyard. I have 3 copies of Sire of 7 Deaths. I only have 1 copy of Valgavoth Terror Eater, so of course we bring back Valgavoth. Now they could have a board wipe. We shall see. But if they do, this is just the beginning. Okay, so it's not 1 and 2 drops. They've got some that cost 3. They do have more expensive spells. Thank you, that'll be handy. Down to 5. And like all cowards, they hit me for as much as I can, blooding my nose, and then they leave before I get a chance to even play. But we're used to that. We're used to the heathen scum buckets on Arena Online, aren't we? All right, where are we? Faithful Loner. That's what I called this deck. $16 creatures. Look at the expensive stuff. 4.1 instead of 3.0. Still only 24 lands. Here's the expensive side right here, but that's okay because we don't normally plan on full casting these, although I have had some games already where you can. Here's basically what happened is as soon as Foundations came out, instead of costing 5 to reanimate something dead, it only costs 4. And everybody and their dog has been using Valgavoth, but they've been using like 4 copies and stuff like that. And Arden is the other favorite one. This is probably a slightly different configuration from what you're used to seeing. I allows them to mill a card and create a treasure and that kind of thing, so that helps them if they miss their land drop. In the graveyard, if we have 4 energy, we can just sacrifice the Faithful and bring. I've got 2 tutor cards, so to speak, Insatiable Avarice. If we're being starved for land and we really need to draw land, but maybe we do have 3 black mana, we can target. We'd lose 3 life, but there should be a land in there in case we have like 3 lands and we want to get to our 4th land. If you look at my mana base, I've got 3 tap lands with Hidden Necropolis. I've got 1 tapped planet with Susur Sakuni Void Altar. And I've got 19 swamps and 1 demolition field. So the problem is that Arena gives me demolition field a lot. And half the time they're not playing a non-basic land. They're playing all basic lands. So oftentimes I'll get stuck with 2 swamps and a demolition field. And I can't even use Insatiable Avarice the way I want to. But otherwise I can just search for it. Search the library for a card for only 1 black and 2 mana, and shuffle it, put that card on top. So if I'm missing a card that I think I can discard into the graveyard, I'll bring that up. If I have 4 energy and I don't have Zombify, I'll bring Zombify up. And if I have Zombify and I don't have 4 lands, then I will actually use a tutor card with 3 energy just to put a land on top of my deck. And I've had to do it. The next card to help me out is Cynical Loner. Cost 2, it's a 3/1. The creature can't be blocked by glimmers because it's from Duskmourn. Has the survival mechanic or ability. At the beginning of your 2nd main phase, so after you could have a chance to attack, if this creature is tapped, you may search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, and then shuffle. So we're going to look for the 3 copies of Sire of the 7 Deaths and the 1 copy of Valgavoth, and we're just going to throw them all in our graveyard. I've got 1 source of obvious lifelink, No Priest of Oblivion. This is a reprinted card. They put it in Foundations. Vampire Cleric for 2/1. It's got lifelink and menace. If you kicked it, so you paid an extra 3 and a black, so a total of 6. 4 regular or generic, colorless, and 2 black mana. You can return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if I have 6, and I get this later on in the game, I can spend 6 and bring one of these back instead. So yet another way to bring something out of the graveyard. For my removal, Bitter Triumph is an additional cost to cast a spell. We're probably usually going to discard a card because Arena loves to put one of these in my hand a lot of the times. So Bitter Triumph allows me to still get it into the graveyard by discarding it as part of the cost to play this card. 3 copies of Vote Out. This is only a sorcery, but it's got Convoke, so your creatures can help you. You tap the creature. So here's another thing that happens a lot. Arena loves to mana starve this deck. Even though I have 24 lands, it'll still just give me 1 land for I get the 2 lands in the initial deal, right? And then I'll get the 3rd land. And then it won't give me any more lands. So I put down Cynical Loner, and I use Convoke the next turn to kill a creature, and I use it to tap Cynical Loner, and that way I get to put my creatures in the graveyard. Not by attacking, because if you've got 1 or 2 or 3 creatures out that would kill Cynical Loner, I need her tapped at the end of battle, so I can't just run in and attack into the creatures. But if I can destroy one of those creatures with only 3 lands and her, then I can stick one of these in the graveyard on the same turn, and hopefully it thins out my deck just a tiny bit so I can finally draw that 4th land. So I've got 3 copies of those to help me out. The 4 Zombifies, of course. I also have 4 copies of Defossilize. This is from Ixalan. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature explores, then it explores again. So if I'm missing land, or I want more land, It'll just bring the land when it explores up into my hand. I could get 2 lands explored in the same turn. Or if it's a card that I like that's not a land, I get a +1/+1 counter on whatever creature I brought back from the graveyard. And also we should point out, you can put the card, if you don't like it, into the graveyard. So one of the things that I might have happen is I'll defossilize, I'll bring one of these big cards out of the graveyard, and as I explore, another one of these will pop up, and I'll throw that into the graveyard off of the defossilize. So this is a card that doesn't see much play. They just stick with Zombify. And maybe you've seen Valgavoth's Faithful or Cynical Loner. You've probably seen Zombify with 1 or 2 of these, but not all of these. We've got Prison Break. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, just with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. This is from the Through the Omen Pass series, or expansion. We've got 2 spacecraft here. Caesarean Dirgecraft. Costs 5 to get down. When it enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. It's big on putting tokens down. This ain't going to work on that. You can station it by tapping other creatures. And once you've got 7 power tapped down, then it turns into a 4/3 flyer. What I like to do is put down Cynical Loner, and if the game's starting to go long and I get a Dirgecraft down, then I can use the Dirgecraft to stay, and that taps the Loner, allowing me to get the stuff into the graveyard. So the Edge of Eternity's expansion has really given us an extra ability to tap things down, which really helps with the survival ability. 1 board wipe with Deadly Cover-Up, of course. 3 Overlords of the Bellmark. This is usually the one thing that you'd see with all Zombify decks. I only have 3, so I only use 3. But the impending cost, you can put it down enchantment, but the effect is still the same whenever it enters, because it's considered a permanent, whether it's as an enchantment or as an enchantment creature. Return a non-avatar creature card or planeswalker to your hand. I might want to put this together with a different kind of deck with that little planeswalker card coming out of the graveyard. That could be fun. But in the meantime, what's usually happening is you're never really afraid to for the 2, because if they throw a Cynical Loner or a Valgavoth's Faithful into the graveyard, that's perfect. You want those cards. You'll take those cards and bring them right back up to your hand. If you are milling a Valgavoth or Sire 7 Deaths, you don't bring those back. You just throw them into the graveyard. If the game goes long and you can full cast this for 5 mana, it'll just come out right onto the battlefield as a regular enchantment creature. You'll still mill the 4 cards, and every time you attack. 2 more slash removal cards in 1 and a black, and destroy target tap creature. So we have 2 of those. So 2 more removal cards, and that's not a lot of removal, right? I've got a Bitter Triumph, 3 of the vote outs, and 2 of the pushes. And that's only 6 cards, and then one board wipe. So only about 7 removals really in the entire deck. It's really kind of cheap in that. But I also have pull. If I've got 2 of my big cards in the graveyard, I can put them onto the battlefield under my control. They gain haste, and I sacrifice them at the end of the next step. So they're not exiled. So if I have a Sire of the 7 Deaths, and I have a Valgavoth Terror Eater in the graveyard, and I have 6 energy, when I draw this card, I'll just use pull, and I'm attacking for 16 power that has lifelink, including one that has the flying evasion, and this has first strike and trample and menace. So they've both got evasion on them. Then when they go to the graveyard, I've got all these other reanimate cards, that I could use to just bring them back. And let's count up the reanimate just so you see them all. We've got 4 of the Zombifies, 4 of the Defossilize. If I'm going too fast, just freeze the video. 1 Prison Break makes for 9. And then we've got 4 of the Valgavoth's Faithful, which makes for 13. And then possibly a Null Priest of Oblivion makes for 14 possible ways to reanimate these creatures in the deck. Now, it's probably not the most efficient deck in the world, but I do have the Suzerain Secondi Void Altar in here. I don't usually station it up to 12. I mean, if I can, I will, if I get the opportunity. It can be fun if you have a reanimate spell in your hand and you have Valgavoth, say, on the battlefield, to go ahead, if you station this up to 12, go ahead and pay the 2 life, pay the 2, tap it, sacrifice the creature, sacrifice Valgavoth, draw 9 cards. You're probably going to get a reanimate card out of all that, so you can just reanimate them right back and you have a full hand of cards. So that's a nice little strategy you can use as well. What else do I want to say about this? Between the planet that we put down that comes in tapped and the Susurian Dirgecraft, that gives us 3 ways to go ahead and tap this card. And then with the vote outs with Convoke, that gives us 3 more. So 6 potential ways to tap the Cynical Loner without trying to run it through past their defenders. So it's a nice deck. It's probably not something... I mean, I do take it into ranked, which is something I didn't used to do. It does pretty well. But there's probably one too many expensive cards in here. You did see from the average, it's not 3.0, right? We're at 4.1 now. And some of this is the 4 big cards. And I've had games where I just full cast Valgavoth because the game lasted so long. But, yeah, normally I would probably have... Since I have so little removal in here, if you want to take this into ranked, you might want to get rid of a couple of the defossilizes and have maybe add a couple more of the Bitter Triumphs, that kind of thing. Or maybe add a couple more board wipes if you would like to go that route, if that's your preference. So there is a way to upgrade it if you do want to be more serious about going into ranked. But I have taken this into ranked, and it wins about half the time, I'd say. Maybe a little bit more. And I mean, I'm not going to mulligan. I'm supposed to mulligan this because I've gotten 2 of my 4 cards that I want in the graveyard in my hand. And I only have 1 of the cards that allows you to discard this. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw one of these out now. And we'll hold on to the other one. We might get a Bitter Triumph in here later. Valgavoth can come down now. I'm fine with that. Let's go ahead and station this just for grins and giggles, because we're not doing anything else with the card. Creature's not going to be able to attack. 1 mana of any color. Okay, what else you got besides white in this deck? And they get rid of the Ultima Weapon. Do they have a way to reanimate artifacts? We're just going to station Valgavoth's Faithful again. We do have a little bit of removal already, so that's nice. Another big card, legendary artifact thrown away. Let's throw this out there. And we bring back the Cynical Loner. That's perfect. We're not going to attack. I'm just going to station still. They're not in any hurry. They're just discarding all their stuff. Never mind. They got somebody. All right. What do we want to do here? I think we just want to bring this out. That's for each equipment you control. I think I'm okay with them gaining a little bit of life. We pass the turn. We take action. We go find Valgavoth Terror Eater. And now we have 2 big creatures in the graveyard. And we've got 2 of these pulls, which might be interesting if we can get 2 more lands going. Alright. Yeah, let's go ahead and just kill one of these. And we will station this up again with that. Pass the turn. Oh, shoot. Whew! I hit too fast for the fast forward. I got 1 more creature I want to throw into the graveyard. If they have graveyard hate, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble here. They get rid of the Belmark. They should have gotten rid of Valgavoth's Faithful. But maybe they have a board wipe. We'll see. It's good to have a spare. We can now... No, I don't want to attack. No attack. I want to station this up all the way. Sweet. Okay. So now if we want to destroy one of our creatures and draw a lot of cards later, we could. Scorpion Sentinel. That is underwhelming. That is also kind of underwhelming. That is all very underwhelming. Oh, this is going to be fun. I guess we just attack. Ouch. And defossilize. 2 lands right off the top. Sweet. We're still keeping Valgavoth's Faithful up in our hand for emergencies. No reason to expose it to a board wipe. If they sacrifice artifacts to draw a card, that would be good for us. If they need to dig for something. It's the lifelink. Aww. It's so cute. That is so cute. $16 coming at you. They have nothing to block the thing in the air. Okay, I think we want to first strike the lifelinker. And then we want to get rid of this guy. And we don't care about the token. First strike gets rid of all of that. And then we get it. And this is just lovely stuff right here. Opponent mills. We gain 16 life. They're going to mill that stuff. Do we have an artifact in here? Equipment? No, we do not. Okay, so we got 3, 6, 7. That's fine. And they get to mill 16 cards, which all go to us thanks to Valgavoth Terror Eater. Life is good. Okay, Buster. Give me more life, I guess. I could use a bunch of stuff. We're just going to put them out of their misery. Final score, 49 to -4. This is kind of how the deck was when I first made it. The longer that you play with the deck, the more Arena understands what you've made. Like, I mean, it already is familiar with the template of the Belmark and the Zombify and the Valgavoth Terror Eater, but my configuration is slightly different than what you might have seen other people use. We really went in on using the Cynical Loner and the ability to tap it down and to have extra reanimation spells other than just... A lot of people just use like 4 Zombifies and maybe 4 Valgavoth's Faithful, or 4 Zombifies and 4 the Loner. You know, they usually use 4 Zombifies and 4 some other card. This is kind of a nice configuration because the Valgavoth's Faithful is one drop and the Loner is 2 drops. And sometimes you get a nice 1/2 drop. Sometimes you get our tap land in here and then we can station the Cynical Loner on turn 2 and get our creature in the graveyard on turn 2. And this was much more consistent for me than trying to use the artifact where you spend 2 to draw a card and discard a card. Because with Cynical Loner, you can go tutor the specific card you want to throw in your graveyard right away. Nothing much for us to do right this second. There's one other trick. I don't know if we'll get to do it in this video series, but just in case, you can pay the 3 if they're low on life. You can have them, let them draw the 3 cards, but have them lose their last 3 life and win the game unexpectedly that way. Another Zombify is not what I needed right now. Okay. That's what we needed. We have our land. And we have our creature in the graveyard. The perfect use of this card. And hopefully they don't have a way to get rid of this because we're going to be half dead or more. Although I wonder if I should wait a turn. If they're going to attack with the Icetail Explorer, maybe I should just kill the Icetail Explorer. I mean, I'm expecting them. Okay. Milled that card. I got lots of stuff. Seam Rip goes in the graveyard. Nice. Now I don't think I have time for that. But they're tapped out, right? I don't have time to use the push on the Explorer if they want to hit me now. Not bad. They got 5 lands out already to my 3. We're going to take that. See what they got. They only have 2 cards. +2/+2 and trample. That wouldn't be enough. That might be enough. Double the power of target creature. Well, no, because I'd still have first strike. Go get another basic land. And make it 24. Do it on the same creature? Yes. Okay. And again. They're getting a lot of mileage out of the Icetail Explorer. With these fabled passages, they can just do all the landfall they want. Ah, they're doubling something else. Look at that. That's a mistake. This has first strike. Unless they have like some card that gives that indestructible. I just gained 7 there. Oh, they did not read the card. Reading the card explains the card. First strike is the very first ability this one has. So I came out a net gainer of life on that. That was all off of a warp too. They can just bring that puppy back. Okay, so I'm going to attack. And they're going to take it. Yeah. Nothing. A whole lot of nothing. Shoot. I mean, I guess I can bring that down. And we could try to kill the Icetail Explorer. I kind of feel like they have something they can do, but let's test it out. If they did, they're not willing to use it on that. Okay, Chapter 2 for the Enchantment Saga. Since it's a Saga Elemental, it's going to go away after the next turn, but it'll give everything +2/+2 and trample next turn. But they need something to be able to stop Sire of Seven Deaths. It's still kind of almost equal. But they kind of need something from white removal. Or one of the spells that makes these things indestructible so that I don't kill it first. But even so, that's not the worst thing, because I'd still get my 7 points of life gain on one of them, and then I can just bring it back next turn. I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ways to bring back the same card. We gotta watch out for that eventually. And that was the move for Fart King 1, 2, 3. I think we bring this down. They're just going to get rid of the Badgermole Cub, probably. But that way I don't have to like try and target Surak and give him an extra card draw. After the first strike, you notice they slowed down quite a bit. They're making sure they read and understand the cards. So they still get to keep their land. Which they could be doing to add extra counters on this thing. Pumping it up every turn. Oh, that counts as a regular... Oh, because it's not a token. Okay. That actually gave them a trigger to double their power, too. Alright, do they have anything that can pump the toughness up past 7 on any one of these creatures? They've got a lot of energy. But only 3 cards. Alright, warping in yet another Harmonizer. So they could double 2 different creatures and try and swing in with 1. But they'd have to be willing to lose one of these. But they've all got trample now, right? So here comes another. Is that going to be enough? Because they'll be able to double both? No, because they don't have a way to get it. They've got near lethal on 1, but my life gain's going to save me. So that's a nice try. But what's the final card? Do you have a trick? I mean, they could attack with this as well, right? They need 4. No, they only have 3. Okay, so they can't attack with that. And they plot that. It gives them lifelink. Alright, so they're going to do 24, 28, and I'm going to have 29. It's best to get rid of the double there. That was close. That was impressive. We are nowhere close to stationing that, but let's do this. We'll station the loner. We'll start it up. Order. Which shows you when I start to play and it gets closer to midnight. Sloppy. Technically what I should have done, and I would have been sitting pretty, is I should have played this before the attack, stationed her, and then after I conducted the attack, I would have had a creature in the graveyard, and then I could have zombified it before the turn. That's got flying at least, but this has reach, so they still can't get past me. They can bring in the Harmonizer. It's not going to be enough to kill me. Unless this was like a ramp spell that gets them a couple of lands at the same time. This does not have haste. Other creatures get +1/+1, so they could get this up to 6. Still not worth attacking me for. Okay, well, let's do it right this time. We station the loner. If we throw this at them... No. Take action. Valgavoth. Zombify. Valgavoth comes back. End the turn. They thought it was tough just dealing with one Sire of the Seven Deaths. Okay, now we got all the landfall stuff coming in. Ooh. Their Dust Animus is looking better, but I'd still use Sire of the Seven Death against Dust Animus. Because they can't increase the toughness. And my first strike makes sure they don't gain any life gain. If they're thinking that I would block with Valgavoth, and they would still get life gain out of it, they're figuring wrong about what I'm going to be doing. But with, let's see, with Icetail Explorer, they can put this in. Both of these will go in twice. They should put something on Surak, because Surak will end up with Trample. You know what, to get rid of the Trample, the nice thing here is I get stuff. Valgavoth gets stuff anyway. You sacrifice something, it goes away, so Icetail Explorer can't use it anymore. Nice, including if they mill something. They're putting it all on Dust Animus. They need to put it on Surak. Surak has Trample. They're just looking at Valgavoth. They didn't read down 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th mechanic is Reach, which means we can block the 64/5. They think they're going to get so much life. So much life. But if they'd split it up between Surak and Dust Animus, I would have had to chump block the Dust Animus with Valgavoth, and I would have been forced to use Sire of the Seven Death against Surak. This is all terrible for them. I think they're just now figuring it out. Okay. We block there. Let's get rid of their land there. Go up to 7 there, and up to 21. That's a good turn. Oh, look at all this stuff we have. This is like such good stuff here. Take that. Take that. Take this. Take this. Life is so good. Okay, I think we've done all that we can do there. Let's see. Station. This. Perfect. Let's attack with this and this. And this. The flying we have overhead is lethal. I just want to get the first strike. Get my life back, total back up to 20 before we take them out. And then we'll be up to 29. Never mind. Ta-da! Final score 29 to negative 10. Ice-Tail Explorer is a tough card. The amount of ramp that gives you, coupled with landfall cards, there's so many landfall synergies out there. Green is turned, I think, into one of the more popular colors because of landfall. Okay, so we keep Sire of the Seven Deaths. We can discard it with Bitter Triumph. And then when we get our fourth land, we can zombify it back. So as long as they have one creature that we think is killing, we're sitting pretty... Their name is Necrospaw, so... You know, if they're discard, we'll just discard the Sire of Seven Deaths. Unless they get to look at our hand and choose. But no, they're white and red instead. They do like their top card. We good to go with Zombify. Life is so good right now. If you want to have fun on Arena, make a new deck. Don't net deck anything else out there from the bigger YouTube channels because those have all been used. My channel is a hobby channel. It's really small. We just hit 500 subscribers. Thank you for that, by the way. But when I make this deck, Arena doesn't know what to do with it. It's slightly different configuration from everything that it knows, and it takes it a little while. So the first night that I made this, I could do no wrong. I was getting like turn 4 Zombify like almost every single match, and then like the next night, Arena turned on me, completely pummeled me. It buried the bell marks. I never got the bell marks again. All three of them were always at the bottom half of my deck. It would give me like 4 copies of Zombify, or a combination of fossilizers, defossilizer Zombify in the opening hand. It would just do all this, you know, all of the ways that you could garbage deal me. It would. And okay, I don't understand this. You've got a better battle state than I do right now, and I haven't done anything. Maybe they got land screwed. That is too many wins in a row. We must be punished, mustn't we? Benevolent Rever Spirit. Waterbend 5 is additional cost. Okay. Okay, Skylar D. See how we're looking. We're looking good. What we do here is we're never shy to put down this for early removal, because we can always play Overlord of the Bailmark and get this card back specifically as we feel like it. And you can even hold on to this if you want until you have 5 energy, if they've already demonstrated that they can kill it. And you can summon it and use it all in one turn. thinking about it for so long. Why would you ever give up a Sky Knight Squire on turn 2? You're obviously a creature deck, right? There you go. Vigilant creature is not cool. Do we bring down Overlord now? Or do we wait? Let's... Normally I would bring it down. Let's wait a turn and see what happens. I mean, maybe we could get another land and full cast it. Opponent gets yet another land. They're not missing a land drop. Hopeful Vigil. Pump up your creature again. And I've got no removal right now. Okay, so this is worth it. Put it down as a regular 5/5. And they kill it. Oh, this is lovely. We're going to leave Sire of the Seven Deaths there. We can bring them both back. We've got 4 ways to reanimate them. Okay, that'll give it flying, right? Okay. You got to start attacking someday, right? There you go. And they can really outscale us if they get Virtual Loyalty down too. I don't have a way to get rid of that enchantment. Ooh. Do I do that first? Let's wait. Let's give them a chance. I mean, we were winning no matter what on that. If they had a way to get rid of this, maybe to target it, they would have had to pay the 7 life for ward, and then I would have had the board wipe, and we could have gotten rid of, you know, all of the Sky Knight Squires that were hiding in their deck and stuff like that, or maybe if we wanted to get rid of removal. They didn't even try. And that wasn't even Valgavoth. The other popular card is the Ardent card that allows you to resurrect other creatures from the graveyard as tokens. Because he costs 8. None of the regular Magic players want to pay 8 to get that creature out. Alright, we won't discard this right away. They might have discard, right? They have black. We might have a natural way to discard it if we use Insatiable Avarice to draw 3. This looks like a Weenie Rush deck. All right. Let's see if this works for us. Look at that. They're milling stuff themselves. Oh, they have Assassin's Trophy. That could hurt us. Really? No lands? You gave me no lands. Arena cheating. Okay, we won too many games. That's all there is to it. I'm going to be half dead. And still no land. Okay. All right, let's try this. We are really running out of time here. 4 land draws in a row. They're going to give me 1 land for the entire match. Arena. Of course they have destruction removal. Down to 5. So I need the land. And I have to pray that these no land. They gave me no land. I mean, I can get rid of that one maybe for a turn. This has got to be removal. Look at that. That's just like... Could they have asked for a more perfect deal? Oh, look. We got our 1 land. Alright, they can just pay the life, lose 7 life, and remove it. That was way too long to get 4 lands out. And look at that, 6 lands. They didn't miss a single land drop. They used the cheap removal spell on the cheap removal. No way. No! What are these cards? I really want a button, like a little toggle switch that we can... Each player could go ahead and toggle and say, hey, now that the match is over, before we leave the match, what you had. I'm intensely curious, on a match like this, what are these cards? And how can they not have at least 1 removal card? I did not bribe anybody at Wizards of the Coast to win all these matches. I am nonplussed. I already had 4 of those. I don't usually watch these back. I'm gonna have to watch this back again and figure out, did we lose any tonight? That's not bad. I mean, the only thing that would have been better is if we had a loner. Give me a cynical loner real soon. But heck, I'll take a land draw. How many cards here? Regular. They already got a Restless Cottage out, which means that if they power that up, they can exile cards from my graveyard. So, oh, they've got Graveyard Hate and they've got tons of life gain. And I think there's going to be the game is starting to freeze up, which means my system is going to throw a fit. Oh, they got a... Oh, shoot. They got a great start, and we missed a land drop, so... Yeah, this is normally the sign of death. What do they need just for? They just need 1 more land, and then they could exile anything from the graveyard they want to. And me without my 4th land. And there were 2 lands right there, and no creatures to bring back. Thank you, Arena. Yeah, now we're done. Look, oh, Arena just found my kryptonite. Has a way to deal with enchantments, takes care of them right away. Only gave me 1 land. Has a way to exile anything I put in the graveyard from now on. And still only gave me 1 land. Okay. Eventually, that's going to happen. Sometimes it happens like your very first battle where they land starve you. Instead, they waited till the very end. Okay, I should have known we couldn't go undefeated regardless. All right, Faithful Loner. I call. Oh, is that a brand new? That's the first. No. Oh, it's just new. I was going to say I have 2 copies of that. Okay. Forgive me for getting distracted. So call it Faithful Loner because I combined Valgavoth's Faithful as my 1-drop and Cynical Loner as my 2-drop, and that just it makes for a very nice mana curve right into the Zombify, and a lot of nice ways of getting your creatures into the graveyard. A little bit different. Normally we see a lot of blue cards where it's blue-black Dimir where they're drawing one and discarding one, or an artifact to help them out to pay 2 mana and draw a card and discard a card and create a treasure. So those are very common out there. I think the Cynical Loner is a little bit less popular, and I think Valgavoth's Faithful is used more commonly than Cynical Loner. But I really like the way that Duskmourn works with Edge of Eternities with the stationing ability. It really helps. So you could get this out on turn 2. You could station it. You could get Valgavoth in your graveyard on turn 2, and then you're just waiting for the land to zombify it. And I've done that innumerable times already with this deck. So, I mean, as much as being on the being on the other end of Zombify, when they always seem to have a turn 4 Zombify, and they always seem to get exactly their card that they want. This is it's a tiny bit different because although everybody's come up against that already, a lot of the other stuff is just draw, discard, draw, discard. In this case, I think it's a little more consistent of a build because I'm not counting on having like 8 or 12 creatures that are really big so that I can hit them and get them into the discard pile with my draw, discard. I've just got 4 of these. I've got good odds of getting them early on in the game. I've got a lot of number of ways to tap them down. And so it takes all the guesswork out of it. I can choose, depending on the situation, if one of these cards would do better than the other, I'll put that one into the graveyard because that's the one that I need to put out on the field. So it just depends on what my enemies, what I'm facing against with my enemy and what they've got facing, what they've got fielding on the battle already. So really the build of this particular type of Zombify deck is centered around Cynical Loner more than anything else. And that's what's really different about it, I think, than most of the other Zombify builds that you see out there. So, as always, we ask you to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, that kind of stuff. And we'll have something different for you next time.